I'm not gonna say what I needed it for. All that matters is I wanted it by Friday. I think I'd have to sell everything I own to make that much money. I don't have a lot of stuff, and it's all kinda shit. I considered selling an organ, they go for a lot, but there were no openings this week. It's like I couldn't be less lucky. I played the lottery and won nothing, lost money in fact. I came to the conclusion there was no legal way to get all that money. A lot of doors just opened, but I wanted to get a feel for how many. I browsed the dark web and found a chat room. The site looked like a MySpace page, very grunge and vampire-coded. In the top corner was a black and white goth chick that could have been an Evanescence album cover. There was a blurb talking about demons and Satan that popped up when I scrolled over a pentagram. I didn't read it. Most of the page was a dark box with a blood-drip border and a text box at the bottom that said, "What do you desire?" I typed. Me, hey, what's this page for? Someone with the username Lucy444 responded. Lucy444, what would you like it to be for? Me, I want 25K. Lucy444, as do many others. The difference between those who receive and those who do not is a matter of what they are willing to give in return. So I ask, what are you willing to give? Me, I figured you'd have me do a crime. Lucy444, there isn't a crime you could commit that would benefit me, not one that I couldn't do myself. You and I are of the opinion that gestures are finite and substanceless. No, it is material which we crave, something tangible and significant. What possession of yours do you most value? Me, PRB, my car, it's not great, but the parts could sell. Lucy444, I'm not asking what item could sell for the most, I'm asking you to dig deeper. What in your life would be the hardest to part with? Anything at all. Me, my confidence. Me, I am always trying to keep my head up. Lucy444, would you give it up for $25,000? And me, that's impossible. Lucy444, what if it was possible? If it were a thing which could be passed along, would you be able to do it? Me, I guess. Lucy444, do you understand the gravity of this decision? You would be forfeiting that which supposedly matters most to you. Is the thought of this conundrum not a distressing one to ponder? Me, well, you can't do it, Earl, so it doesn't matter. Lucy444, I am capable of making that trade if you are certain in your decision. Me, y'all give me 25K. And me. Lucy444, nothing is being given, it is an exchange, you're offering for mine. Me, alright, so I don't have to give you anything. Lucy444, sure, yes, you can have it. And me, neat. And me, you wanna meet up. Lucy444, it is en route already and will arrive momentarily. And me, will it be here by Friday? Lucy444, I said just a moment. Me, wait, you don't have my address. Lucy444, you didn't give me your address, but that is only one way of obtaining something. I tracked your computer. I immediately closed out all my tabs, turned on McAfee and shut the computer down. What's done is done, I couldn't get more hacked. Outside my window I saw a flash of light and a whoosh sound. I ran to the front door and flung it open. A cloud of smoke wafted in, stabbing my eyes and clogging my throat. I dropped to my knees, hacking up a lung. The smoke was flying up from something on my welcome mat, so I flipped the sides over and started slapping it. Smoke poofed out the gaps in the folds, but gradually died down. When I unwrapped the mat, the black "Welcome" blended in with the rest of the mat, which was also charred black. What wasn't charred, though, was a little plastic pig sitting up in the center of the mat. He had a big smile and cartoonish eyes. a pink body with a big belly separated from the rest by a seam. He sat on his flat hind end with his right hoof stuck out like he was pointing. Kinda hidden by his double chin was a red collar and a dog tag that said, "Shake my hand." I pulled his arm down like a slot machine and his belly popped open, wound up real tight, and it was a wad of cash. I wedged my hand in to pull it out. It was all of it, $25K in $500 bills. I probably counted it a couple times to make sure I was doing it correctly. Yep, there it was. It came right in the nickel of time. I didn't know what day it was, but it wasn't Friday yet. I was paranoid I'd lose it before then. I've never had that much cash. I always lost it before I could. I didn't have a safe with a lock, so I went for the next best thing. I stashed it with my guns in the gun corner. They are loaded, so it's a deterrent and a booby trap. The night went on and I couldn't get to sleep. There would be a digging in the walls, then rustling in the cupboard. I've had a mouse problem before, it happens, but they never bothered me like this. In a fit of rage around 3 a.m., I started pouring stuff out of the cupboards. When I was done, they were empty and I was standing in a mix of dry goods and shattered glass. I left the mess as it was. A wave of sleepy hit me and I wanted to capitalize on it. It didn't last. A gnawing under the floorboards brought me back to reality. I stormed out to the kitchen, hoping to make something of being awake and work on the mess. To get to the cleaning closet, I had to step between dense clutterings. One of the things tossed to the floor was half a gallon of peanut oil, which didn't stick the landing, and neither did I when I stepped in it. My slipper was whisked out from under me. My right leg zipped forward and I came down taint first. It was a standard pain at first, nothing distinct, nothing that felt like stab wounds, but when I looked down, my thighs and grundle were gashed up, large ceramic chunks wedged stuck halfway into my skin. My head felt dizzy and my legs weak. I knew I needed to stand, but flexing muscle rubbed against serrated daggers. I pushed my torso up with my forearms and started to army crawl. It was exhausting, having to stop many times to catch my breath or lose consciousness. Glass dug into my arms and scrapped my legs as they dragged by. I eventually made it out of the kitchen and into the bathroom. By then, most of the largest chunks were pulled out along the way. I managed to shakily prop my arms on the toilet and hoist myself up enough to root around in the medicine cabinet. I was working with my sense of touch alone, which was going fine. I had Band-Aids and Neosporin. By the time my arm blood lubed up the toilet lid enough to send it slipping off. My head got pulled down with it, and I slammed my face off the lid. Meanwhile, I didn't let go of the medicine cabinet, so it also came down. It crashed down on my head, Panini pressing it against the john. With a limp wrist, I pushed the cabinet onto the floor and slid to the floor, where I laid on the floor for a while with my cheek pressed against the floor tile. When the blood from my nose pooled up into my eye, I decided enough was enough, and I was gonna pull myself together. I rolled my ass over and tore into the box of Band-Aids. I know wounds bleed more when you unplug them, so I left all the shards in and covered them with the Band-Aids. I knew it was the right thing to do, but it wasn't easy pushing the shards deeper to get the Band-Aids over. After I emptied a few boxes, little by little I tried to stand. Eventually I was standing. Then I tried walking. I went down a few times, but at some point I was walking. I was probably 20 steps in when something was pounding on my door. I had a hunch I knew who it was, but not why he was here already. I looked to my watch, then to my calendar. There was no way it was Friday already. "It's Friday," a deep voice said from the other side of the door. "Where's my money?" "Just a minute," I said, beginning to hobble to the gun pile. "Hey Siri, start a timer for 1 minute," he said in a quieter voice. I dropped to my knees and tossed one gun after another to the side. I was apparently careless and snagged the trigger of one, and it fired. The bullet grazed my cheek and lobbed off my ear. From what I can tell, I haven't looked at it. My ears were ringing, but through that I heard the voice say, "What the fuck was that?" A second later, bullets came flying through my door, just tearing up the wall across from it. I covered my ears and cowered a little, before grabbing a gun and resorting back to crawling. I made it to the mechanical room, crawling all the way as hard kicks rocked the front door. I dug my fingers into a little notch in the floor and pulled up a hatch that exposed the crawl space. I roly-polyed into it, landing hard on my back in the powdery dirt. I rolled to the side as far from the opening as I could get before slamming into a post. This is where I am currently. I don't hear the pounding anymore. It could be one of three reasons. He gave up, busted it down, or busted it down and got it. Whichever it was, I knew I'd have to stay there for a while, so I patted at my pockets looking for something to keep me occupied. My pajama bottoms were torn and bloody, pockets included, so nothing in there, but in the robe pocket was my phone. It was like seeing a rainbow. I could have called the police, but I didn't. They would have questions I didn't feel like answering. I knew my friends wouldn't do shit, so I didn't even try them. That's why I'm posting this. I'm not known to beg, but please God, someone help me. I'm filthy and scared, and I don't want to die like this. If I follow up with another post, you'll know I made it out alive. I'd like to proofread this, so if I'm posting on not a Friday, you'll know I made it out alive. All right, bye.